Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and a member show to the GMP Morning Show.
Olá Bom Dia ALEGRIA, Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast this morning. Good morning to you, Sarah. Nice of you to be here. You're getting here nice and early most days this week, and still lovely warm feelings about the lady, Susanna was it, who learnt to ride a bike in her 20s, and the lovely video you shared yesterday. That on 913-590-303, and news from you as well that Jutos e Pontapés are going to play in Alçada do Sol. They are the Rolling Stones, of course, of Portugal. Alçada do Sol on the 24th, is that of this month? And it's a free gig. There you go. That's what happens here in Portugal. A beloved band, and they're playing free of charge. No entrance fee for Jutos e Pontapés. That's one of Filomena's, if not the favourite band of Filomena as well. Coach Turner in Bom Dia Todos e Feliz Terça. Well, the rain has finally arrived in Hertfordshire. Sounds like the beginning of a novel. Well, a Dickensian start to life in Hertfordshire this morning. Well, the rain finally arrived in Hertfordshire. And the Gardens are very happy. We have a couple of grandchildren arriving this afternoon, so busy week for you. So we have a few busy days. Well done. Keep up the good work, Ian and Leslie. Right. We are continuing day 2 of Portugal Preparedness. Bit of a rabbit hole this morning. Out of curiosity, more than anything, I have not gone. I'm not going full prepper. I don't suggest. Putting it on the Gumper map. Thank you very much. Excellent, Sarah, as well. The Gumper map, of course, you can find that on goodmorningportugal.com. Yes, I'm not going full prepper, but I am fascinated by it. And I found a website in this Portugal Preparedness Week. That's a grim old picture on the front page. Oh, dear, oh, dear. I think it's fascinating. So we may just pop down that rabbit hole with our headlamp on, of course, and our bug-out bag on our back. And we have to prep ourselves for looking at a prepping website, I think. And the fascinating topic of there's a company, there's a particular product called the Wise Company, 72-hour emergency food and drink supply kit. Just add water. I'm not sure that's that's not the future I have in mind, but still fascinating nonetheless. And I think there are some things that are worth having for those of us who aren't complete ostriches, aren't full-on preppers, and might be a little bit stoic about things and being prepared. Including one thing I would definitely recommend is and I'll say more about this later, but it's the 10-litre eco pack of Monchique. Really great water, and actually an alkaline water, unlike most in Portugal, which I think tend to be on the more on the acidic pH scale. This is an alkaline water at 9.5 pH, and it stacks beautifully in the house. 10 litres in the eco pack, which is way more. Double the supposed daily amount per person. Sources I've looked at suggest 4 litres per person per day. Jackie last night said 7 litres is what she uses as an off-gridder. So interesting stuff. We'll come back to that. What sort of food would you put by if we're taking this 72-hour framework of a time to prepare for, where might be a wildfire situation in Portugal, could be an earthquake. Could be some sort of power outage, these sorts of things that the EU have talked about. I think it's good practice anyway, along the lines of what we're talking about this week, of hoping for the best, preparing for the worst, and being unsurprised by anything in between, including a little bit of a tickly cough that you might have. So let me know if and what you're thinking about this in the chat this morning, or send any pictures of I guess the most serious preppers won't be sending any pictures of their underground facilities, will they? That community tend to be quite secretive for understandable reasons. 913-590-303 if you do want to send it in anonymously, and let us have a little look. But we'll have a look at some of those things this morning as we continue. Day 2 of Portugal Preparedness Week. Preparing for the rest of your life in Portugal is the broadest context of the discussion, and this week will conclude. My goodness, it's peeing down. Wasn't expecting that. being unsurprised by anything in between, including a sudden downpour outside, whilst the sun is shining, in actual fact. We'll also talk this morning to Lee McGrady. He of Lee's Bees, as I christened them over the weekend when I saw him. It was great to see Lee and a few of the other man cave gentlemen, and I used the term loosely in Coimbra on Sunday. And I think as well we'll have Jason popping in, who's on the road, but he's popping in. He, of course, from Quinta Essencial, and I'm sure Jason has something to say about this whole prepping thing. He was having a little giggle last night, actually, ahead of the conversation I had with the Portuguese. He said, prepping, wasn't that something that only a conspiracy theorist used to do? Tee-hee. Good morning to you, Hugh, as well. Part of this week, we'll be looking at living wills as well at some point. And thank you for letting me take a photograph of the living will that you carry around in your wallet. Other ways of doing that, of course, include the Estou Aqui bracelet that you can carry around that's endorsed by the PSP Police Force. It's sponsored, I think, by Mayo. And you can, of course, carry information on your phone. Your phone needs to be available and charged, of course. So you can have a laminated card like Hugh's done in his wallet. Hugh might say more about that in the chat. You can have the wristlet, the Estou Aqui, which Josh told me about here in San Martino de Porto from my men's group, or men's shed, and which meets tomorrow evening. If you're in San Martino de Porto and you want to hang out, have a beer with the lads of the men's shed, that's tomorrow night. Every Wednesday here in San Martino de Porto. Great initiative. And talking about such things, part of this conversation was informed by a conversation that we had there a couple of weeks ago, which was in turn inspired by the Living, Aging and Dying Well group that's in Caldas Terrena. Who knew? Right. I've also got a little bit of a quiz for you this morning. So many beautiful pictures taken in Coimbra over the weekend. Too many to do a massive slideshow, or I haven't created one yet, but I've got some highlights, which I'm turning into a bit of a quiz for you this morning. So let's go there then, first thing, before I come back and talk about the Portugal preppers and what you get in a 72-hour emergency food and drink supply kit. And we'll talk to Lee and Jason, because I know they've got... I'm sure they'll have interesting views on such matters as well. But first off, a little bit of a quiz for you. You'll need to look at the screen for this. What is this? And you might even get extra points for saying where it is and what it's used for. What do you think that is? Have a quick look at that while I have a little sip of my tea and mute my microphone and have a bit of a cough. So there you go. I'm not sure if I need to give you a clue. It looks quite Roman, but it's actually from a later period in history. And it looks like a bit of a grumpy face on the screen there as well. And I think anybody who was using that might have a bit of a grumpy face. And certainly the other people in the room would have been pretty grumpy too. That's quiz picture 1 this morning. And by the way, bird of the week is the alveola branca, the wagtail. Isn't that lovely? The wagtail bird that you'll have seen here in Portugal. If you've not seen it before in your life, you'll certainly see that in Portugal. That's our bird of the week, as chosen by, not part of our quiz this morning, as chosen by James yesterday. What is this? Now, the Vila Gale hotel, and they have these all over Portugal and actually in Brazil and around the world. It's a Portuguese chain of excellent hotels. And this was something that was on... This is one of my favorite things, actually, when I've stayed in hotels around the world, and I've not stayed in that many, but it's always a great treat to do it for various reasons. And one thing I really like about good hotels is, how do you like your eggs in the morning? That bit where you can go and have the what do they call that? There's a special, is it a grill chef? I need to cough again. Let's cough again like we did all year so far. Right. This was available, the egg chef. I'm going to go with egg chef, grill chef for the time being. The short order, it's a short order chef, isn't it? Where you can go up and say, yeah, can you do me an omelette? Can you do me a couple of eggs, easy over, sunny side up, whatever, if you're in the States. And on the menu was this. Now, you'll see in the middle there is a bit of a mista thing going on. In Portugal, tosta mista, your sanduíche mista, that's ham and cheese in the middle. But what is that on the outside of it was a savory, obviously, with a mista in there. You could get a sweet version of it as well. But what was that? that I was tempted by and tried, took to the table, cut it up into a few slices so that other people could try it. They weren't too keen. It was a somewhat interesting experience. But what is it? Do you know what that is that was available from the short order chef at the Villa Gale Hotel in Coimbra? And it was very nice to stay there, I have to say. Excellent job. Well done, Astrid. Great choice of hotel and an excellent event last weekend. The next one is in Tavira, and I'll be telling you about that in due course in a couple of months' time. Tavira with a little pleasure boat trip as well. So get signed up for that. If you want to join us in Tavira, you can book it now at expatsportugal.com. Now, who over the weekend in Coimbra turned up in this T-shirt? Who was that? One of our guests turned up. I can give you a clue a little bit later on. But who do you think might have turned up in that T-shirt in Coimbra at the weekend? One of the VIPs. I'll tell you that as a bit of a clue. So, what is this? What was it used for? I'll give you a clue. It was in the part of the former royal palace, but is now became the University of Coimbra. What was that used for? Where is it? What is it? What is this that you could order from the short order chef at the Villa Gale Hotel? And who turned up in this T-shirt in Coimbra? Okay, I think I'll put these pictures up at the Portugal Club as well. And maybe we'll solve that mystery this morning. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow morning. We'll see what happens. Gemini Bradshaw also. And how are you, Gemini? Good to see you here this morning. Okay, so in anticipation, and I don't know exactly when they're going to turn up. I'm hoping Lee will join me at around 8:20 this morning. And that, fantastic. And I can share you the video of him and his bees, Lee's bees. How fabulous. He sent me that. That's wonderful. He'll tell us about his bees. And any kind of prepping mindset that Lee has got, he'll be happy to share with us as well. And he'll give us some frank, honest and direct, if not advice, then certainly an opinion on what he thinks about it. Hold on a minute. That bee video didn't save there. Let me just make sure I've got that saved. Isn't that wonderful? Beekeepers in our community. I know that Philomena, in fact, I got some of her honey from her at the weekend, and now Lee as well. So Lee's bees, Philomena's bees, we have beekeepers in our midst. Is there anyone else in the community who keeps bees? Lee quite new to it, I think, but he was so excited. It's like a little lad he was telling me about it at the weekend. So who was wearing that T-shirt? Just one more time and quickly. Who was wearing this T-shirt when they turned up in Coimbra? What is this that was available from the short order chef at the Villa Gale Hotel in Coimbra? And what is this? Where is it? What is it used for in Coimbra? And you can see that for yourself as part of the excellent tour that Patricia shared with us. She was fantastic, really fantastic, sang her praises yesterday. If you can select your guide, or if you're lucky enough to get Patricia, you'll have an amazing tour. 90 minutes it is, I've got to let you know. Why not add a what's in the rear photo? No, thank you, Peter. Nice try. You nearly got us last evening. Oh, by the way, on the screen as well is something that I will be adding to my Try Something Portuguese list. On the shelf here, can you see this? This La Caseira. Has anyone tried this? I've got to be careful when I try it because it's 3.5%. Mrs. M was attracted by the packaging and the fruitiness of what's on the pack there, lemon and grapes. The grapes have been fermented. It is a Tinto de Verano Limão, or I think this is Brazilian, isn't it? They've been making this gaseosa desde 1949, everybody, and it's with Tempranillo, or is it Spanish? It's Spanish, isn't it? Yes, it's Spanish. Spanish wine in a can, but only 3.5% because it's got lemon juice with it, I believe, as well. Zumo natural de limón. Yeah, it's Spanish, isn't it? So I won't be trying something Portuguese. I'll be trying something from the noisy neighbors in due course. Not this morning, but have you tried that? The La Caseira or La Caseira? Right. Okay, we'll get there in the end. We'll get to the prepping side. Prepare to put your headlamp on and your bug out bag on your back because we're going down that rabbit hole. Bom dia, campus. Feliz terça a todos. Okay, thank feito from James and Good Morning Portugal. Accent marks, Carl. Accent marks. Villa Gale. No. I think it's Villagale. I'm sure it is. Are you talking about something else there? Vila. Okay, Vila Gulai. No. Okay, I will bow to your accentuation, but only this once. I'm not saying it again, though. Oh, and good morning to you. Bom dia a todos. Estou feliz por celebrar 8 anos em Portugal. Is that this very morning, Owen? Wow, okay. And not a beekeeper yet, but just bought honey from the beekeeper near my land. It's medicine. When you get honey from the area where you live, it's medicine. Great. I remember when my my little dog, she had her surgery, the vet gave me wild honey to put on the wound. It's miraculous stuff. Lee will tell us about that in a couple of minutes as well. Villagale. Okay, Villagale. Okay, I'll say it one more time, and then that's your lot there. Briefly then, and we'll probably come back to this in between Lee and Jason this morning, both on the road and kind enough to include us in their plans this morning. A very quick look at Portugal preppers. Blimey, I haven't seen a Weebly site for a long time. Who we are then, and a manky picture of the 25 de Abril Bridge with Cristo Rei in the background. That's ominous. If I show you that on the screen there. And the sort of thing they do is very interesting. Portugal Preppers Network is a public information website. You can go to portugalpreppersnetwork.weebly.com if you want to see this for yourself. Learn more about what preppers are, learn about the prepper movement, promote prepper networks and their supporters. We provide a resource of links and information available to anyone who wants to prepare to survive the difficult times we are facing. Okay, I'm not sure we're facing those times just yet, but I think there may be one or two things that we might learn possibly. Oh, okay, what's this? That's a pop-up ad. Let me just get rid of that. One of their kits I thought was quite interesting, and the bug-out bag. There are some serving suggestions that I think are quite useful. Family emergency plan, they're doing stuff like that. Survival articles, emergency kits. So, for example, that's a nice little primer there, isn't it? A prepper primer, what you might have in your first aid kit, and it's worth having a little play with that, isn't it? Kids love that. You could play doctors and nurses with your partner as well, whilst you're doing a little bit of impromptu prepping there. All sorts of resources as well. Advice about pets too. That's an interesting consideration. Evacuation plans, those sorts of things. And I quite liked just wanted to very quickly tell you about their emergency everyday carry. Oh, that's an EDC, an everyday carry, and some suggestions in there for your. I mean, I wouldn't be popping down the market or down to Continent with this on my back necessarily, but all very interesting stuff. Pen, small notebook, a bandana. Start wearing a bandana. Pocket knife, throwing knives. What? Flashlight and batteries, emergency whistle, prepaid phone card. Is it possible that this is a little bit old, this list of phone numbers kept in phone notebook? Now that's a good idea, isn't it? Because some of us just have numbers saved and we don't know what the numbers are. Back in the day, remember when you were a kid, you had to remember your own phone number to call home, and you'd memorize the numbers of your friends until numbers got to a really long length and it became a memory test in its own right. But that's a good idea, isn't it? Any important phone numbers, write them down somewhere as well in case you don't have access to your mobile or the battery goes flat or something like that. Emergency money, small bills. Who doesn't like a small bill first thing in the morning? Medication for 3 days. There's this sort of 72-hour theme here, isn't there? A mirror, so you can do your makeup. Oh, and signal. I think you can use a mirror, obviously, for signaling as well, can't you? Reflecting the sun. Small orange. No, hold on a minute. Small orange waterproof tube, a match storage box. I don't know what that is. Maybe Lee will. First aid. We talked about first aid. Dressings and aspirin, pain relief, as well as the dressings. Wallet with documents. And we've talked about this. Get those certified copies from CTT. Small compass. That's if you know how to use one. You could use the sun, couldn't you? You Boy Scouts and Girl Guides. Eyeglass repair kit. That's thoughtful. Nail clippers, sunglasses, lip balm in the apocalypse. Poncho and hand sanitizer. I wonder what Lee's thinking about this. EDC has a different meaning in Texas. And we find that most of the small villages locally have a beekeeper. Isn't that lovely? Paul, Louise, and Lottie are here. Louise turns up when Lee's here. She's going to want to know what he's growing at the moment. And I put honey in my tea. So do I, Tea Duck. and I've got a choice of two. I've got a local light one and the lovely dark smoky one that Philomena makes. I wonder what sort of honey Lee will be making. Let's find out now. Nice big round of applause. Lee McGrady, everybody. Do you carry lip balm, Lee? Oh, he's gone. Okay. All right. We'll play the video until he remakes the connection. Okay. Lee's Bees. Hashtag Lee's Bees, everybody.
You can feel it. You can feel it inside.
What, the honey?
Yeah, it's sticking us. Like it's an oil. You see it on the...
Oh, yeah.
That's fantastic. Got honey already. I really didn't need a suit for that. I didn't need to start that either. But I look good. Okay, take a picture.
There he is. He's got the beekeeping hat on and gloves, but he's wearing shorts. Now, I'm not sure if that's best practice, Lee. We'll ask him. Should he rejoin us? I don't know. I think he went to join us and to press the button on the phone, and the phone might have fallen on the floor. Okay, we'll see what happens there. Let me put the correct livery onto the screen and read a few more of your comments. You're watching the Good Morning Portugal show. Any comments, please, in the chat. Any pictures you want to send, 913-590-303. The number's on the screen now. And Jackie's just joined us as well. Jackie was telling us, of course, yesterday, her daily water level, if she is storing water, is 7 litres a day. This would do you then, if I can pick this up and have a bit of weight training at the same time. This box here, we've got Mel as well talking to us in Simply Live. Mel, I lived in a cyclone area, having 3 days supplies and a bug out bag was just normal. I think it's good practice. It's good practice if you live in the countryside here in Portugal. It's a good thing to have by the door for sure. And you know, the thinking about it whilst you're putting it together is also quite a useful process. This I would recommend at home. You don't want to be having this in your bug out bag at 10 litres, 10 kilos. But a very good product indeed, available from most supermarkets. And I think you can even buy them mail order from Monchique Direct. As I said, it's an alkaline water. I think they do a little donation as well towards a water charity. It looks like they give 25 cents per purchase. But it stacks wonderfully. The first few bottles we've got, and I think still got many of them. And that's an important thing, isn't it? When you're storing water and food, you want to be making sure the things are still in date. So use them and replenish them just to make sure you've got decent shelf lives on things. But this is a fantastic 10-litre box of good water, which is stackable, and you haven't got the awkward shape of the plastic bowl. So there you go. I commend that to you as part of your setup there. In your larder, in your 72-hour larder. Yes, and thank you, Mel, for that. Presumably that's in Australia there. Bon dia, gang, from Jackie. And does Lee keep bees for the honey or as pollinators? I think a bit of both, Coach. And we love receiving gifts of local honey from our neighbours. There are still some cork hives around the Aldea. Cork hives, didn't know about that. With water, don't just think about what you drink. And I think, yeah, the gallon, the 4 litre amount that's recommended per day per person, I think is for washing and cooking as well as for drinking. Yeah, other drinks, of course, when you're making a brew, you want some water in there. In cooking food, giving yourself a hygiene wash and supplying animals as well. That's very good. Thank you, Marcus, for your comment too. Cheers, Mel, for that. We keep all of our important documents in a portable fireproof bag for a quick exit in case of forest fires, and popping down to Ima and Seth. Is it fireproof to protect against the mood of some of the bureaucrats? I'm kidding, obviously. I don't know what a fireproof bag looks like, though. Is it like lead? That's going to be, if it's lead lined or something like that. That's a heavy bag. What does a fireproof bag look like? What is it, Teflon or Kevlar or something like that? That's amazing. And may I ask as well, it's a team effort here, sharing all these notes in Portugal Preparedness Week on the GMP this week. Did you get your certified documents at CTT? Is that what you did? Were they copies made by CTT or a notary? Lee's back now, and we'll ask him why on earth he was going near a beehive with the correct headgear on, but wearing shorts. That could have ended very badly. Lee McGrady, everybody. Olá, bom dia. Did you get stung Did you get stung on your nether regions at all?
No.
Okay, well done. They know not to go there. Perhaps I don't know. Or you stung them back? Maybe. That was a lovely video, Lee. Thank you. We enjoyed watching that. How are they settling in?
Oh, very, very well, very easily. Yeah, very nice.
And the question was, do you keep them for the honey or as pollinators or a bit of both?
Bit of both. Bit of both where they are. Yeah, yeah. But it's my first hive. I'm going to get another 4 or 5, I think. They're going to be in different gardens. So.
Oh, that's a really good arrangement. So for willing clients of yours who might like a bit of honey, it's like a bit of a sharecropping thing, and you can leave them at your clients' houses.
Yeah, we take a percentage of the honey each. So.
Very good. Very good. Okay. All right. You might even get more clients on that basis, people who want to go into the honey business with you, as well as have their gardens looked after.
Well, it came up in conversation with one customer, and then another customer wanted some, and then Carl wanted some. So, yeah, it's slowly expanding into the whole world.
Yeah, I think you'll have other customers here as well. So good luck with that. That sounds wonderful. Were there peacocks in that garden as well? That I could hear.
The peacocks in the garden next door.
Right.
The garden next door got a bit of a small farm thing going on.
Oh, I see. Okay. And would you recommend peacocks in the garden? I imagine they cause quite a lot of trouble, don't they?
They're a nightmare, but they taste really nice.
Taste like chicken?
No, it tastes like peacock.
Okay, right.
It's a redder meat on a peacock breast.
Is it? Okay. And that's legal, is it? You've actually eaten peacock?
I've had peacock, yeah. The legs were very nice. It's a big leg on a peacock.
Of course it is. Of course it is. And an excellent toothpick from some of those big feathers as well. Planted last year and growing well at garlic, fava, onions, potatoes and carrots. Just finished eating the last of the parsnips just planted. And more onions, beans, French and Helga beans, courgettes, cucumber. Busy in Louise's garden, squash, mallow, corn, toms and peppers. We'll come back to you to find out what you've been planting. But a bit more on this prepping thing. Lee, well, I imagine you found yourself in situations where you've had a bug out bag and prepared yourself for life in deep rurality. What's your view on this prepping thing? 72 hours of water and food and meds and stuff. A useful thing to do?
I think you can get carried away with it. I mean, people get paranoid about it.
True. We saw that.
There's definitely stigma around it.
Yeah.
But common sense means you should have a bag ready to go anyway.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a couple of good earthquakes this year. Well, one good one last year and one good one this year.
Yeah.
You know, it's not always about political and conflict. It can just be a flood. We've had a lot of localized flooding recently in Lisbon and Portugal. So just being prepared for your bag.
Yeah.
So in case it picks up, you at least got your documentation and a bit of cash to flow.
Yeah.
So
okay. So a bit of common sense, down to earth common sense advice. And I think that's
I was listening to what you were saying before about that bag you found online.
Yeah.
Well, what's that? That's my waste drawer. That's a drawer that we keep all the crap in the kitchen.
It's true, isn't it?
Just pick your waste drawer with all your bits and pieces into a carrier bag and walk out the door with it. How ridiculous.
Yeah, with a few golf tees and some golf tees and some old cigarette cards or whatever, Bazooka Joe stickers in there.
72 hours, I'm sure I can do without nail cutters and a mirror.
And lip balm.
I definitely do without lip balm, yeah.
So you think when you say people get carried away, people get a bit panicked and they'll just get into that whole sort of mindset, fearful mindset, and buy crazy stuff like that potentially.
Yeah, it's there's a whole industry around it, but having a water filtration system, they're dead simple play. You can buy from Decathlon, where you can do 1,000 litres of water through one.
Oh, okay, that's good.
It's just a little pump thing. So you can take river water and old water and just run it through to make sure it's safe. Having water in the apartment's always a good idea, anyway.
Yeah, well, I've suggested that this Monchique 10 litre is good. We got cut off from our water supply with an administrative error. And thank God we had this sort of, so-called prepping supply that we got stuck into. So I think it is a useful thing. Jazz is joining us as well. I'll bring him onto the screen because I think he's got a little bit of a window to join us. And obviously, Lee, tell me when you've got to go. Where are you? Are you still on the land or are you on the road?
I'm just walking the dog around the woods before we get in the car.
All right, mate. So how are you doing? What's new there? We can't hear you very well. Have you got your finger over the microphone?
Oh, I don't know. Hang on. Don't think so. Can you hear me now?
Looks a bit damp and wet there, doesn't it, Lee?
I can't hear him.
No, he's also looking very, very well wrapped up. Is it a bit chilly in central Portugal this morning, Jess?
It's chilly for me, mate.
Still can't hear you very well.
It's cold for me, definitely.
It's cold for you. He's probably got his shorts on as well, like you, Lee. We can't hear you. We've not got a very good line to you, Jazz.
Okay, sorry about that.
Just give. Yeah, it's going to be difficult to. Sorry, I've been distracted by "Don't ever sleep naked and keep your passport." Some great advice coming. I'm going to have to stop that then. Maybe I think. I'll come back to that. I'm sure that's some good advice for some obvious reasons. We'll have to do, I think, a very quick check-in with you, Jazz, because we can't hear you very well. How's life at Quinta Essencial?
It's going good. It's been a bit soggy, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But keep on thinking spring's on its way.
Spring's on its way for sure. It doesn't look like it, I've got to say.
No. And so it's school holidays today.
Yeah.
And so we don't get many chances to get away. We're off to the Oceanarium.
Oceanarium in Lisbon. You will have a fine time there. Your daughter's going to love that.
Yeah, hopefully.
And have you got any, we're talking about prepping this week. Have you got any prepping supplies at Quinta Essencial that you would recommend?
Do I have any prepping supplies?
Yeah. You sell food, but most of it perishable, I think.
Yeah. Ferments will keep for a good long while.
Yes.
Any preserved beans and stuff like that, dried beans.
Yep.
That'd be my advice. But my biggest advice would be don't be frightened by the boogeyman.
Woo! Best advice ever. That's the sort of prepping we're talking about, isn't it? Prepare your mind for good things and not living in fear and terror while striking a common sense balance that Lee's talking about.
Well, my thing is, if it gets to the point that I do need that bag,
yeah,
the last thing I want to do is sit in my house.
Yeah.
I'd jump in the truck. I'd be off.
All right. What, down to the local cafe and making alliances and getting with people?
No, I'd probably head towards Ukraine and Russia because it seems like the safest place at the moment.
Plot twist right there. Okay. Well, okay. We really can't hear you very well. If you're able to jump back on later before 9, it would be awesome to talk to you a bit more. But have a lovely day at the Oceanarium. I think you'll have a fantastic time. Love to the penguins there.
Didn't know that. That's plot twist.
There are some fantastic penguins in there, and it's a lovely part of Lisbon as well. You can go on the cable car too. So have a lovely time in the Park of Nations. There's the Bordello, the great big Bordello cat as well, made out of old recycled bits and pieces, which I'm sure your daughter will love as well. And all the best to you for a wonderful springtime at Quinta Essencial, Jazz. But I'll jump on later if you can.
All right, brilliant. Cheers.
All right, mate. Ciao, ciao.
Bye now.
Ciao.
Bye.
See you later, buddy.
Sadly, couldn't hear him there very well. But what was he saying? He's going to jump in his truck and drive east, possibly, and north.
Well, there's a lot of people have the same idea of bugging out rather than staying home.
Yeah. Okay.
You're gonna die. Might as well die somewhere in comfort.
Okay, that's a cheerful thought. Right. So what's going on? What's going on in the garden, Lee, for you at the moment? We've had a lovely list of things from Louise this morning. What's going in where you're growing?
Well, we're keeping it simple again this year, just with the 5 stuff that we have regular. So, tomatoes, onions, courgettes, lettuce. What else we got? Carrots. So nice and simple.
Yep.
No, it's too much work when I'm working full time. So.
Okay, all right, and that's an important consideration, isn't it? I think some people who get very excited about growing food tend to overdo it, get overwhelmed, and then put themselves off. I know I've done that in the past.
And then you've got to work out if it's actually cost effective. I know people don't do it for the money and don't do it for the savings, but if you're spending all your time weeding, then, is it really worth the effort?
Yeah.
So keep it minimum, keep it as easy as possible. And I've said it before, just do the top 5 things on your shopping list. You know,
Yeah.
that's the ones you use the most of. And you don't end up with too many courgettes.
Yeah,
I mean, to give
nobody wants that.
courgettes every year. Yeah.
Nobody wants a zucchini glut, do they? Now, it was very good to see you in Coimbra. I didn't realize it was a man cave, an impromptu man cave conference, basically, in the Villa Galé hotel there. Good lunch, wasn't it, that Ben put on?
Nice, yeah. I mean, it was Ben's first attempt, so we thought we'd all make the effort and come up from Lisbon and show our support. So we got a good turnout. Yeah,
it was great. It was great, and it was a Coimbrian meal, wasn't it? Say again.
Saw a few faces not seen for a while. It was nice.
Yeah, it was lovely to have a bit of a get together, and it was a Coimbrian menu. Did you like the chicken pie, the pork chop, and the tentugal pastry?
The chicken pie was very nice. I could have ate that as my main meal. I made a bigger one.
Yeah.
The pork chop is not something I'd ever choose on the menu.
But it did have migash with it. It did have migash with it, which I like. A cabbage and potato thing going on it.
And Kent stole my dessert, so I didn't get that.
Okay, naughty Kent.
Well, I did get plenty of the local wine, which was nice.
Yes, I noticed that. And then more of the local real ale, because after the hotel, we went over to the Epicura Brewery. Did you enjoy the beers on offer there?
I only had 2, and I'm not sure what they were because I didn't buy them. Young Ben bought me one, and then Cal turned up with one, I think. So I'm not sure what I was thinking. But we didn't stay long because we had the baby with us, and we all had a train to get back home because it's a bit of a nightmare booking trains for going up there on the weekends. It's the Porto line.
Oh, I see.
So we had to pre-book our tickets for the train.
Right.
So we're on a time schedule, which is a shame.
A Lisbon day out there, amazing.
Would have liked to stay longer. It is what it is.
All right, mate. Well, thanks for dropping in. Anything else to tell us about your unique take on prepping, growing, beekeeping, or anything? Or as we look towards the summer here in Portugal in 2025?
Prep is just common sense. It's just having some common sense items in the house and being ready for whatever might strike you locally. Like you said, we lost our water last year because there was a leak on the street. So it was unannounced. It was turned off for 4 hours, 5 hours. But it shows how quickly it deteriorates when you can't make a cup of tea.
Oh yeah, that's
you've got water for your cup of tea and milk. So
that is such a British thing to say, Lee. How quickly things can deteriorate when you can't make a cup of tea, but it's real. It's real. It's true what you're saying there. I'm laughing.
The other thing that you mentioned earlier, which is something I've always done, in my wallet, I've got a list of phone numbers on a bit of paper.
Yeah,
I've had it for that long that some of the people are dead now. So I've always done that because once the mobile phone came out, I realised early on you're relying on a battery.
Yes.
And saving all your numbers on a device you can lose.
Yeah.
Just doesn't make sense to me. So I've always kept a bit of paper with essential phone numbers on it.
Yeah. That's what was good at looking at some of these.
Once a year, I just update it and.
Yeah. Well, and I think looking at what might be seen as quite extreme sources gives you a little bit of a nugget like that, because that came from that quite sort of rabbit hole-ish list of resources there. So yes, a manual list of telephone numbers. Anything else?
Oh no, I've got all sorts that I just keep coming useful regular. I never go anywhere without a knife. That should be an essential for everybody. I've always got one in the vehicle. I've always got one in my camera bag. If I've got going out, there's always a knife in my pocket just in case. And
very Portuguese, isn't it? Where in other parts of the world it's becoming a terrible thing, a knife carrying. Here in Portugal, it remains still a practical tool.
I don't mean a machete. I mean a little small pocket knife.
Not a zombie knife, right? Okay, yeah.
I'm not a zombie knife. Or a small Swiss Army.
A gentleman's knife, perhaps, to go along with your handkerchief that's presumably in your pocket as well. All right, mate. Well, thank you very much for popping in. Have a great day. Where are you off to today?
Oh, I'm working around the Caparica area. So,
good for you.
And it's just that it's raining again. It's forecasted in for the morning with a nice afternoon.
Yeah. Oh, well, we haven't talked about the weather because it hasn't been so bad recently, but still a bit of April rain to come, I think, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, not have a couple of days, but it'll pick up.
All right,
It'll
mate. Well,
pick up.
great to see you at the weekend and the family.
You too.
And thank you for popping in this morning. And lots of love to you and Lee's Bees. Take care, mate. Ciao, ciao. All right, bye for now. We're gonna dwell a little longer on one of these somewhat more extreme resources, and I'm going to ask you. Oh, we've got the quiz as well. For those of you who've just joined us, a quiz question, I suppose, would be: would you eat these 72-hour emergency foods where you just add water? That's one question this morning. What is this? Well, I've given you the location. This was in the former Royal Palace and now the University of Coimbra. What do you think that might be used for? All will be revealed, as it is when people used it back in the day. What is this on the screen here? This was available from the short order chef at the hotel at the weekend, the Villa Galais hotel, if that is indeed how you pronounce it. What is that? It was the savory version with mishta ingredients in the middle there. But what is it on the outside there? A little bit of a clue, something that might have struck terror into your heart and palate as a school child. And who turned up? Who turned up at the event? I'll give you a clue on this as well. They had come from an ecstatic dance event, hence the psychedelic T-shirt. But who are they? Also a sporting fan. Is that a little bit of a clue there? And if you're looking for clues, married man. That's him holding the T-shirt there. Who is it who turned up in that T-shirt at the Coimbra weekend? Right. Let's see. It's a double Lou. It's his. It's a good guess. Which room of the palace and university is it in, though, Hugh? Have you been? Have you had that tour of the incredible Joaninia Library in Coimbra University? Which room of that enormous house, as it were, does that structure belong to? Let me show you a picture of it again. Yeah. So, okay, double Lou, good guess. In what room of that institution there? You're watching Good Morning Portugal show. We are into day 2 of our Portugal Preparedness Week, which climaxes in another karaoke and disco partying like it's 1999. This Saturday evening at the Casa de Lem cocktail bar here in San Martino de Porto. Looking forward to that with microphones sponsored by Spartan FX. Thank you very much, Spartan FX, for stepping up and supplying us with some more microphones. If we needed some more microphones, that was obvious from our first do. So we can look forward to some nice duets, even trios singing this coming weekend. Right. Let's have a look at this. Would you eat the food that is being suggested here? And more of your comments. They're excellent, please, and suggestions. Yes, surely the throne room. Another good guess there. River is jumping out, says Hugh. The veg garden is in puddles. We've had enough rain. It's true. It's true. The ballet is on this week at Teatro Camões next to the Oceanarium. That's great, isn't it? Which ballet is it? Which is that? A resident company, the Portuguese Ballet, as it were, or is it a touring company there? Simply Live Mel. Well, you're a bit of a dancer in your time, Mel. Another thing to bear in mind, if you have power cuts, then the contents of your freezer will perish quite quickly. That was a comment that came up last night, actually, when I was talking to the Portuguesa. Somebody proudly saying how much they've got in their freezer in the event of a difficulty, a 72-hour, impromptu 72-hour survival plan. Yes, if your power goes, what's in your freezer will perish quite quickly. You'll have a lot to eat, but you'll have to eat it quite quickly. We lost all last year's saved produce in a recent 6-hour power cut. That's a shocker. Now, another thing we might talk about this week, another Carl. We've got Carl Hyde of the agency. We've got Carl McAdam in central Portugal. And he was, when I saw him a couple of weekends ago, he was very excited to be receiving a new style inverter and a huge battery, and he's already got a few solar panels. Now, he was creating something that could sit on a sack truck, basically. So you've got the battery giving the center of gravity at the bottom of the sack truck. You've got an incredible inverter, state-of-the-art inverter, which is, the battery was like almost like a hard drive, and the inverter, as well as you being able to charge via solar panels, via the mains. So it was a backup battery as well. Really good. and really great value. The inverter seemed to be doing something like taking the power and laying down the current to be stored in the battery, as though it were writing to a hard drive. It was amazing. He was very excited when he was telling me about it. And it's on wheels, so you can move it around your property. Now it was an almighty amount of current in there. And at some point, we will have them. We'll build one and we'll demonstrate it. And our intention was to demonstrate it with 3 hairdryers. Not that I need one, but the thing about coming to Portugal when you're first here and you don't know about that current thing coming into the house, and you're maybe in an Airbnb or you're in your rental and the electricity current hasn't been changed, you put the kettle on, you put the toaster on, and then the straw that breaks the camel's back is maybe someone else in the rest of the house turning on the hairdryer and blowing the fuses. And you think, what? How is that? I remember the first house I was in, it was just putting on a heavy-duty Hoover vacuum cleaner, blew the fuses, and then it was explained to me you need to get the current rating upgraded by your electricity supplier so that you can run higher current devices. So what Carl McAdam and I will do when he's figured out this backup system, the battery storage, energy storage, as well as energy generation off-grid, we're going to run, and he thinks that this can be safely and easily done, but 3 kettles or 3 hairdryers to show you what this thing is capable of. So yes, that might work for you, Louise, there. If you've got a portable battery pack. Carl McAdam, where are you? Let's get that together and let's share that with people. A portable battery pack charged either via your main system and you keep it topped up, or you get some solar panels, or you could use hydro, or you could use wind power, but obviously solar's your favorite here in Portugal. And you get it charged up. And I think from what Carl was telling me, that would have seen you through. You could have plugged your freezer into that and it would have kept it going certainly for 6 hours. Rains in Viseu, rains in San Martino de Porto as I look out of the window. Now planning to do more bottling of produce for longer term storage. Okay, I like the cut of your jib. I like the conversation this morning. And that's what Jazz was talking about as well, wasn't it? As he was walking the dogs quickly before setting off for Lisbon. Is ferments. And I think at Quinta Essencial you can buy a few of Portugal's fabulous dried beans. So you can make yourself a feijoada as well. But they're a great food to store, aren't they? Pulses and lentils and beans in plentiful supply, alongside perhaps your pasta and your rice that you can buy at any Portuguese supermarket. Tins as well. You can buy tinned beans. So the cooking time. The thing about buying tinned beans, of course, is that you don't have to soak them because they're pre-cooked and they won't give you one of those terribly painful stomach aches. Is it from the lectins, the Hannibal lectins in the beans, the fava beans, no less, that if you haven't soaked and boiled them properly, the excruciating stomachache that can ensue and the sound effects that come with it as well. But excellent, Louise. I'm now planning to do more bottling of produce for longer term storage. Canning, I think they call it, don't they? In certain circles, even if it might be in glass, it's still called canning. Very good. Keep us up to date and abreast of what you're doing, if you don't mind, and some of your recipes and serving suggestions. Fantastic stuff in your what sounds like your growing larder. Living in Scotland is like prepping every day, Lee. That was a question from Pete whilst he was joining us. Most landlines don't exist now. We have kept a proper phone box in the village. And was that by village decree? Was it the locals who said, we want this, we want to keep this? Very interesting. Every house has a landline, of course, though, doesn't it? If you've got broadband, that's coming in. If you've got fiber, yeah, we all have landlines, don't we? We just don't use them anymore. But it's the shared technology, certainly until recently. I don't know if now broadband and fiber optic comes into the house and isn't connected to a phone line, but presumably, and if you know about this, do let us know in the chat. If you've got an internet connection coming in, you've got the landline possibility yourself. It's just that we don't use them anymore. Double Lou Throne Room, well done. The National Company, if you're a ballet fan, go to Park des Nações. And Mel has never been a dancer, but my son is a ballet dancer and is with them. Fantastic, Mel. Tell us more, please. Shirt has to be courtesy of Mr. Terence Austin. I can see where you're going with that, but no, I can see Terence Austin, artist and Renaissance man, in that t-shirt right there. But no, good guess, but not Terence Austin, a different gentleman in our community. He is a man caver as well, an honorary man caver, if not one of the hardcore. And yes, we still no guesses about what this is from the short order chef at the hotel. What do you think that is? Good guesses on this, the throne room. That I'll tell you what that is now. That's the prison room of Coimbra University. There was a time that if you were out past curfew, if you were mixing with the opposite sex, or if you'd done anything that the guards at the Coimbra University didn't like, basically, you ended up in a communal prison room for a few hours, and those were the facilities there. A great place to make friends and bond with other miscreants there. So yes, well done. Double throne. In the prison room, there were some little solitary confinement rooms, but that's the main large room where they would just chuck people in for the night. And even there's a little bit of a racket going, I think, there. The guards would even let people stay in the prison room who didn't have a better place to go to overnight for a few for a bit of small change. Very good, well done then. So yes, the ye olde toilet facilities of the prison room of Coimbra University right there. And to access them, you have to go up. That's the room. Okay, so you get an idea. What is that about? Sort of 15 feet square. And you have to walk up those steps, drop your drawers, and sit there in front of everybody. Probably the worst part of the humiliation of being in the chokey at Coimbra University there. So well done on that one. But we're still looking for what this is. Would you have that? Actually, this could be stored as a prepping supply, funnily enough. And who wore this T-shirt to the Coimbra gathering at the weekend there? Not Terence Austin. His ears will be burning. I have a portable solar. Have you done the sack truck system then? Let me just take that off the screen for a moment. We'll come back to that. Portable solar for Mel, super easy. Buy a power bank like they use in camper vans. Yes, and panels are now very cheap. They are, aren't they? There are double-sided panels at Leroy Merlin at the moment, which will take solar on both sides of the panel, which is very good. So you could just stand it upright and get the best average, I'm told. They were €70, I think. Panels can be put out the windows of the house too. Easy. Of course, it has to stop raining. Yes. I think even you folks who are saying, we need the rain, really have had enough now, right? I sense the frustration in your message there, Mel. Might be the capital letters. I also have a small wind turbine about 1 meter high. Haven't tried it though. That's exciting. Please, when you do, make a video. Let's see that. Olá Bom Dia a todos. Phil, good morning to you. Should we play a little bit of Phil this morning while he's here with us? Good morning to you. Love receiving and enjoying your messages in the morning. Fill my cup style.
Good morning. It's time to stop my yawning. Brand new day is dawning. It's time to fill my cup.
Fill my cup at fillmycup.com with the great Phil Cooklin, who's with us this morning. Jackery systems are great, but not suitable for full-time use. They usually have an 80-watt panel for a 1K system. Nowhere near enough solar to recharge. Okay, the system I saw holds power well and is a big battery. I think things are, you know much more about this than me, Jackie, but what Carl McAdam seemed to be showing me has brought things on a little bit. So I'm keen to find out more. Campaña Nacional de Bailado do Contemporary y Classical. It is a national company and very inexpensive for wonderful performances. They book out faster. Now, not all of us have been to a ballet. What a lovely opportunity to try that, perhaps for the first time here in Portugal, and very good value too, by the sound of it. If you want decent solar, look at Victron, one of the top brands, and it's fantastic. I'm so glad we had this conversation this morning. For those of you wanting to get into solar and have a little bit of a dabble, 400 watts of panels in Leroy Merlin, €80. That's amazing, isn't it? Don't get those portable folding panels. They don't work well. Thank you, Mel. The one I'm talking about, double-sided, isn't a folding one. It just seems to be able to absorb power on both sides of the panel. It's like, well, why didn't they think of that before? They do now. And I think it is one of those €80 ones. Thank you for that. Really helpful advice. So finally, would you eat this? The Portugal preppers took me to this resource. Let me bring it onto the screen for you. This is there's something about 72 hours, isn't there, in this genre, in this particular part of the preparedness conversation. There's even a box here, and this looks dangerously to me like Vesta meals. Do you remember those? Or Spaceman food? All right, so here it is, the Wise Company. 72-hour emergency food and drink supply kit. It's only 49 euros. It might be worth having, better than nothing. Entrees, they're calling them. So 12 entrees, 8 breakfasts, 14 milk servings, presumably powdered milk, with a total of, they're telling you how many calories here. And the thing that really worries me about this is it's got a 25-year shelf life, which sounds ominous. Does it not? Like, if you can make something last for 25 years, would you really want to eat it? But as I said, better than nothing. And it does look like those foil sachets that you just add boiling water to. That looks all right. That looks like a feijoada or some kind of Mexican bean stew, doesn't it? With some tortillas chucked in there. Macaroni cheese, of course, as you might expect as well. Serving suggestions, the food. Oh, and it's out of stock. That's no good, is it? Sorry about that. If you were rushing to youbuy.com.pt, they are currently out of stock. Was it the EU with their fear-mongering that's caused a rush on sales of those? Long-lasting nutrition, they say, provides essential calories and nutrients for up to 72 hours, ensuring energy during emergencies and natural disasters when access to food may be limited. Water-safe packaging, easy transportation in that box there for safe and convenient stowage. 72 days, it says there. No, that's 72 hours, I think. Low sodium, 12 in the pack there. Freeze-dried, yes, freeze-dried. Is the nutrition there when it's freeze-dried, I wonder? Powdered food, it just sounds less and less appetizing the more we read here. Yes, and low sodium, it says again. So it's good for emergency preppers, outdoor enthusiasts, and families. It's not good for budget shoppers, seasoned cooks, or for short-term use. Not designed for casual snackers, or you want your cereal bars for those, as its purpose is specifically for emergency and longer survival needs. There you go. Just add water. 25-year shelf life with no added trans fats, you'll be glad to know, and it's 100% vegetarian. Wow. Okay, that's that then. I would recommend canned fish, rice, pasta, dried beans. Canned beans, not dried beans. Canned beans as well. Some great Portuguese fish. What's this? Jason's here. LiFePO4 lithium are less volatile, much less volatile. That's good to know. Just remember, if you connect a solar system to a grid-tied house, if the grid goes down, you will only have power while you have a battery, as your panels will be automatically isolated. Thank you, Jason, on that. We've got some great intel when it comes to off-grid and solar systems here. Very good. We'll return to this, I'm sure, at some point. Simply Live Mail, it's hated here in the boat community. I tell the electric boats, not by me. I make a move. Why is that? It's a valid worry. Okay, going back to that, then if buying and storing lithium batteries for electric storage at home, talk to your insurance company. The lithium systems have doubled boat insurance. Okay, that's why Jason's coming in with that less volatile system there. And lithium seems so dangerous. Yes, and the big battery that was recommended to me by Carl McAdam, Carl M, the other Carl M, also seemed to be talking about greater safety as well. Interesting stuff. Thank you, you solar people there. I'm surprised Pete hasn't had more to say about that. Anyway, we will return to that conversation, as I say. And to give you the answers to the quiz then, yes, that was a double throne in the prison of Coimbra University. The gentleman who turned up in that T-shirt, and the amazing thing about this chap is that he turned up having come from an ecstatic dance meeting, which we've talked to him about on our new reality TV show. Fascinating hearing about his adventures in ecstatic dance, not ballet, but ecstatic dance. It's Nuno Mensch, everybody. And underneath his T-shirt is his scout outfit. So he'd come from an ecstatic dance weekend. He was playing the part of a corporate insurance guy, which we know and love him for, at the event, meeting all the expats and the foreigners, talking to them about insurance. And then he was off to a scouting overnighter as well. You can see his knobbly knees there. and he had his woggle, his toggle underneath, with his scout shirt and all his badges and his shorts and his knee-length socks and hiking boots right there underneath the Cosmic Psychedelic t-shirt. It was, of course, Nunu Menj. And finally, from the short order chef, that's tapioca, which presumably, again, is something you can store. You could have it tapioca sweet style, or you could have tapioca salgado, which I had here. And they just pour out the tapioca seeds, whatever they are, into a frying pan. They start to heat up and melt. You turn it into a pancake. You fold the cheese and the ham in it, and it's quite chewy. The frog spawn, I think we used to call that, didn't we, at school, the tapioca? But there you go. That's how to cook with tapioca and turn it into a savory pancake in which you can have your cheese and ham or whatever you want, basically. Or you can have a sweet version with a bit more sugar and a drizzle of Nutella or something in there. Probably not the most appetizing looking thing, having said that. Have a great day. Thank you for taking part in the conversation. Here, of course, is the 72-hour disaster survival kit as approved by the Portuguese Positivity Party. As we end on a high note this morning, fully charged phone, downloaded Pimba playlist, bread, cured meat and cheese and wine, lots of wine. Don't forget, folks, vote PP. Have a great day, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Take care. Bye for now.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun